pieces, my body, head, and soul. Many miles away, I could start a perfect story. Find myself and find out glory. This deceptive world, giving me the sign, giving me the sign. Giving me the sign, giving me the sign.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are joining us here at the Sci-Fi Queens. We want to welcome you. Where this is a podcast where we explore female characters in science fiction, television, movies, books, and art. If you are new to our channel, we're going to welcome you and ask you to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we are on and you don't miss an episode. My name is Nita, and I am your host, and I have here with me Annie, Navia. Annie
wow,
is
you
coming
forgot my
shortly.
name. How long have we known
did.
each other?
Not long enough, girl. You sing. But yes, Navia is here with us. Annie will be joining us shortly.
Yes.
She's running a little bit behind, but she is going to be joining us today. And today's show topic is a very important show topic. And I'm just want to give a little bit of a background before we start. We are going to be talking about The Powers, an Amazon Prime television series that's all about science fiction and women. Now, a little background information on it. This is a TV show that came from a book written by Naomi Alderman. I love her smile. The book is named The Power as well. And here she is again. Yay!
Oh my gosh.
And we definitely are going to be talking about the first series. It's got about 10 episodes, and it's a fantastic series. So let's get into the show topic. All right, Annie, talk to me about
Navia. You mean Navia?
Lord. I mean Navia.
I'm leaving the show out. Peace.
I really, really want you to be Annie, as well as I want you to have a split personality.
So sorry to disappoint.
So Navia, I am so sorry. Navia, talk to me. When you watch this series, what's going on?
First of all, I absolutely love the show, and you're the one that recommended it, so thank you for that. This show stressed me out because there are so many issues in this show that are just happening, in today's time. And my God, it was just very, very stressful. But I liked it. It was good. I liked it, and it was good.
Yeah, I definitely love the fact that they took a science fiction topic, and brought real women issues that are happening today. And I think that it definitely shows like a power struggle, right? When I started to watch it, everybody was getting along fine and dandy until the women started to gain authority and power, and you saw the climate and mentality change. So when you saw that change, talk to me about it.
It was amazing how quickly they changed, like the climate, and how quickly the men reacted. Because they didn't even give women a chance to be like, let's see what this happens. Let's see what will happen. It was just an immediate change. Legislations were pushed. I mean, like, could you imagine if our government actually worked like that today? Things would get done. Maybe this is what we need. Maybe the women need the power to get stuff done in government.
Ooh, but it's interesting how they immediately politicize a biological change, which is something that we see throughout the world today. Whenever it's a woman's issue or a woman's health issue, it's definitely something that becomes this political topic, right? Especially in this country. And we see it around the world too. There's a lot of injustices happening with women. And this show kind of brings to light the fear that women in an empowered woman could bring.
Yeah.
And it really created a big chaos.
Yeah.
So like those bracelets to stop them from using their
Yeah.
power.
Oh
How
no,
how did you feel about that?
that was a tracker, right? It wasn't to stop their power.
Yeah,
It was to
I
track
think
them.
it was supposed to keep them from using their power. That's how
Oh
kind of I
wow.
understood it.
I was shocked that Tatiana was so willing to put it on. I thought she would fight back a little bit, but she didn't at all.
Hmm.
She was just he was like, put your leg on the table, and then she just did it. And I know she is, she's worried about life outside of her little like castle, but still kind of shocking that she didn't fight back at
Well,
the
I'm
beginning.
not surprised because if you remember her background
Yeah.
story, she was conditioned at an early age to do what she was told,
Hmm.
um,
But
and to
she had the
lose
power.
that.
She had the
She
power
did.
by then, so that's why I was shocked that she continued to
But you
go
see,
along with
here's
it.
the thing. It's kind of made me think about Stockholm syndrome, where you
Mm,
have the ability to leave, but you
yeah.
don't because you feel emotionally stuck. And I think
Hmm.
that was probably what that character was experiencing.
That's true.
And there's a lot of wonderful characters. Like, as some of the characters in the show, we've got uh, actress Toni Collette, who plays
Love
Margaret
her.
Cleary Lopez.
Oh my god.
How do you feel about her character and her stance and what she's doing?
I feel so bad for her because as a mother, I can see where she's coming from. She wants to obviously do what's good for her daughter and protect all the women out there, but also at the same time, she is power hungry. She denies it left and right, but she's power hungry. She wants to be at like, the top levels of government, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just wish she would admit it.
Yeah, I think though that that's another kind of conditioning that as women we have, where
Yeah, that's true.
we have been told, you know, if a man is ambitious, this is not even
Right.
questioned, right? It's not thought of because we live in a patriarchal
Hmm.
society. But when a woman is ambitious, it's a kind
Yeah.
of a completely different atmosphere. She's
Yeah.
aggressive. She's trying to be a man. She's da da da. They label her over and over and over again,
Hmm.
um, and I think that her character is uh, it's really challenging.
Yeah.
Um, it's really feeling the challenge of her position as a wife, a mother, and a political figure. You
Hmm.
know. Now,
And
one of my favorite
uh
characters, okay, um, and is I mean, I love the Cleary.
love them all.
I do. I love all of this. So fantastic, you know. But I love Roxy Monk,
Yes.
played by Ali Rhea Sitrowitz.
Okay.
Probably saying her name wrong, so I apologize. I think that she's just one of those tough characters,
Yeah.
daughter of a gangster, and her brothers feared her,
Yeah.
especially the eldest. You
Yeah.
know, um,
And she
what do
was
you think?
dad's favorite.
I think so. I think that there was.
Oh
I
yeah.
think he admired her ability, or at least knew that he could exploit that ability.
I think he liked her because she was the most like him. I think
Hmm.
that's what it was. The other boys, they were kind of like they're out to have fun, or like the oldest one is obviously not a nice guy and he's just a little too boring and
Yes.
like just very by the book, I think. But she's a wild card like her dad, and I think that's why he liked her so much.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I love Adina Porter plays the voice.
Of
And
God.
how and Halle Bush's head, remember the
Oh
voice
yeah.
she hears? That is Adina Porter. She is so fantastic. And I really want them to explore that because
Yeah.
are we talking about a psychosis? Are we talking about her inner
Oh,
voice?
you don't think it's really God? Okay, all right. All right,
I
Leah,
don't
let's
know.
get
I
into
don't
it.
know. Maybe.
Okay. I was like, okay, this is really God. I didn't even think it could be a psychosis or anything. Wow, I'm just that gullible apparently.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. It could be any one of those things because
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking in the mentality of sci-fi. So
Okay,
they
that's
could
true.
probably, you know, because just because she has this ability, this biological phenomenon, doesn't mean she can't be mentally ill. She comes from a very horrible background,
Yeah.
in foster care of abuse and not being believed, and being silenced.
Mhm.
And her inner voice was probably the only one that was someone that she could really
Okay.
rely on. you
Yeah, I
know
mean, yeah, once you put it that way, it makes more sense that it could be psychosis rather than
Absolutely.
God.
But
Interesting.
maybe, I don't
Well,
know.
because there was a couple moments in a couple of the episodes where the voice of God, whoever this lady is, kept predicting stuff. Like, when the car was broken down on the side of the road, the God was like, "No, keep walking, do not help them." And Allie, being such a sweet person, was like, "No, I'm gonna help them." And God was right. It didn't serve her well at the end.
It's true. The voice, that inner voice, God,
Yeah.
however you want to look at it was the voice was right. The voice
Yeah.
was right. It didn't serve her
Yeah.
any positive outcome to help that family.
Yeah.
So maybe it is. I mean, she did end up in a convent of these young girls.
Hmm.
These foster girls with no family, right? Run by
Yeah.
nuns, which is also brings up the whole mentality of having women with this natural evolution going on, fighting the patriarchal society around the world. Because I love how the show kind of takes you to different places around the
Hmm.
world.
Yes.
Takes you to Africa.
Yeah.
In that first scene
Uh-huh.
is where the young man dismisses her. And he's
Hmm.
like, "No, I'm not gonna go with you. That's voodoo stuff, blah blah blah."
Tunde,
But
right? That's
yeah, yes, Tunde.
yeah.
But what does he end up doing?
Yeah.
He's riding the coattail of
Yep.
that which he rejected. How
Hmm.
many times have we not seen that as women, where in career, in life, in our own
Hmm.
families, in society, we see that
Yeah.
constantly, where you as a woman are dismissed until I can benefit from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Um yeah, you're right. It is very much like real life. Very much like real life. I honestly, because let's see, what was her name? The Tunde's friend, Nut Nundi, I think that's the
Yes.
name.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure how to
I'm
pronounce
not
her
sure
name
to pronounce
either.
it either.
Hmm.
So because she was okay with it, because she didn't really push back at him like taking her idea. She was like, "No, now you're in this. You have to like continue. You got to keep going, and you have to go forward. You have to do it." I was okay with it, only because she supported him. Now, if she was like, right, she supported him, right?
In the beginning,
Yeah,
but then remember when she was injured,
right. But
the whole village
yeah,
became against her,
but then at
but
the end of
no
the
one was against
season,
him for posting it.
but at the end of the season, she was like, when he asked like travel with me, she's like, no, no, like you do you. You got to continue this. So
Yeah.
that's why I figured that she was okay with it. And that's the only reason I'm okay with it, I think.
Yeah, I think that because he's male, it allowed his character to explore this phenomenon in a way that a woman wouldn't have been welcomed. And again, patriarchal society, right? A woman not being able to represent herself because she is a woman, even though she would
Mhm.
know best. Right?
Right.
We know best how to represent ourselves and how we want to
Yeah.
be seen, but the patriarchy is very different. And
And
I love to see the different countries and their reactions.
Nundi made the same exact point that you did. She was like, I wonder what Nigeria would have been like under a matriarchy, and here's our chance. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so interesting. I hope they explore that
Hmm.
next season.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go to our comment section and
Oh,
welcome
yeah.
people. So talk to me, Navia. Who's in our comments?
We have United underscore Federation of Planets. I don't speak emoji, so I don't know what that means. Celebrate, 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 celebrate. Maybe you can translate for us. And then we have a comment from To Be Seen. Tony Collette from the horror flick Heredity. She is awesome. Yeah, she's
Yes,
awesome.
she
And she's
is an
so great in
awesome,
the show.
awesome actress. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. An incredible actress. And I love the fact that John Leguizamo is in this series. And I know he's not Listen, he is a comic, and
Yes.
he has brought the
Yeah.
A game into this series.
Yeah.
And I think that he really does bring that compassionate male
Hmm.
and that understanding male perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well, till the
how did you
end.
feel?
Till the end. I was shocked at the final episode. Oh my god.
But I wasn't. But talk to me. How did you feel about his perspective when it came to this power?
I was so let's like zoom out a little bit. I was really excited to see a character like him on this TV show because so many times on other TV show, there's a doubting wife who doubting is that the dotting I think dotting is the
Dotting.
word.
Mhm.
Dotting wife who's always there supporting her man, always there like no matter what he does, he's right there with her or she's right there with him supporting him. And I was really excited that Rob was a character like it. I mean, I'm glad he has more dimension and everything now. Like I'm glad they gave him character, but I was excited to see a character
Yes,
like him.
absolutely. I was very proud of my
Yeah.
Latino brother being out there supporting women,
Yeah.
because he's a girl dad, right? He's got two
Yeah.
daughters.
Mhm.
And it's also interesting that in that same family, we've got the son.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me.
You know, so that little boy is, I think a lot of kids his generation are actually seeing stuff like that. Like we have Andrew Tate, right, in the real life example. And a
Mhm.
couple months ago, I was talking to my brother about Andrew Tate, and he was like, "It's weird because my brother's 25. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his age, but bro, it's out there now.
It's out there,
It's
Bo.
out
It's
there.
out
People know
there,
how old you
Bo.
are." But he was talking about, despite the fact that he's 25, he got a lot of Andrew Tate content pushed towards him. He was like, "I'm a feminist. Like I believe in women's rights. I like support you as a sister. I grew up like with you and mom, and like." He was still getting pushed Andrew Tate content. So even if people don't want to be part of that, it seems like it's being pushed. And I wonder, and that's why we get boys like Maddie,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah,
They
and
don't know.
I think that also he feels left out. He's got
Yeah.
two sisters and a mom who can potentially have this ability, this incredible
Mhm.
ability, but he doesn't get to have that
Yeah.
ability, right? And now the sister is dating someone with a chromosomal imbalance. If I'm not sure if that's the
Mhm.
proper terminology for it, but I know that they have X chromosomes and Y chromosomes.
Yeah.
And he was just brought up male, but he has it.
Yeah.
He's feeling kind of left out, right?
Mhm.
And it has to, I think it has to affect um, men in that are accustomed to a patriarchal
But
society, whether
yeah.
they're feminist or not. You're in a patriarchal society, and it has to kind of affect you when you're no longer
Mhm.
that majority.
But Maddie was like, I think 10 in the show. I don't know exactly, but he's like middle school age, maybe a little bit younger. He hasn't had the opportunity to enter the patriarchal society yet. Because, like, in middle school, you kind of, it's mostly women teachers. And I think it's a very matriarchal system, our system. Like, it's always women in power. And he still was afraid, like, of all these women with power. He doesn't know what the world is actually like.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that that's maybe it could be a lack of communication, because you see how the dad and the mom speak to
Hmm.
him,
Yeah.
but they expect him to follow their train of thought without
Yeah.
hearing him out. And
Right.
they also don't sit down with everyone and go, okay, let's respect each other's
Yeah.
ideas. There's this bickering going on.
Yeah. But
And
but at the same time, if you had a son his age and he was watching like Andrew Tate, wouldn't you also be like red flags? Like I gotta sit him down, yell at him, or so you'd overreact.
yeah, I like, are we not monitoring
Yeah,
what children are watching?
yeah,
Like, I, I don't know, like, how about putting some kind of blocker,
yeah.
something.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I this individual on the internet is really agitating the
Yeah.
men who feel like they're being stripped of their authority,
Hmm.
instead
Yeah.
of saying, listen, let's welcome this ability and let's get it to help society. um, they're taking it to the level where it's like, well, women are doing something wrong. Women
Yeah.
didn't even ask for this.
Right. Yeah.
you know, and it can't be surgically removed either, you know,
Without them dying, right? That's the
without them
caveat.
dying. Yeah, that's like the key thing here. And
So
I think
yeah,
it's interesting that no one has had this conversation with him
yeah.
in a different perspective.
So if you guys haven't watched the show yet, women evolve into having this little like organ right here in your neck, and
Mhm.
basically this organ gives people electricity, so they can electrocute people. So that, and if you get that organ removed, they die instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is, and it happens naturally. It's and
Hmm.
apparently, if women can give it to each other,
Yeah. Oh
but
yes, that's the other
men
thing.
don't necessarily have this ability. Just this one young boy who
Yeah.
happens to have, you know, the biological issues that he grew
Yeah.
up with. Um, and
Unisex,
so,
right? I think is
yes,
he
he's
said he was
called
unisex. Yeah.
intersex, is
Or
it? Or
intersect.
yeah,
What are words?
yeah, and that's the thing, like here we have this situation,
Yeah.
but you know, that's exactly what's happening. You know, it's really a an ideal to what's happening in our society
Hmm.
today. You know, whenever women because women fought for the rights to vote, for the right to have a job, equal pay.
Yeah.
Those are things that no one should have to fight for. Those are
Right.
things that every country should want their citizens to have, regardless,
Hmm.
right? Male, female, doesn't matter. Everyone should have those rights.
Right.
Um, but here it is, the this ability, and now they're going to want to segregate women.
Hmm.
Immediately there's this separation, and I find it really interesting how quickly things moved,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, we that's like we said earlier, like legislations were being done so quickly, like or passed through the House and whatever
Hmm.
government bodies there are so quickly.
But that's the patriarchal system for you.
Yeah,
Because you know, if it was a male issue, it wouldn't have even been a topic of discussion.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
man, have this power, and now I'm just going to use it, you know?
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, they want to compare it to a weapon.
yeah, yeah. Even before women have even started using it as a weapon, that was the thing. Like,
Hmm.
women were just learning about it, and guys and the men were just like, nope, we need to put an end to this because we know what women are gonna do. In reality, I think that's what men would do if they were given that power, and that's they know. That's why they're afraid, right? Because
Yeah.
as women, like you and I are sitting here, like if you got that power tomorrow, what would you do? I would just charge my phone battery every time. Like I wouldn't necessarily think I'm gonna go out and rule the world now. I don't know. What would you
Exactly.
do?
I don't know. I mean, I thought about that question. What would I
Mhm.
do if I had that ability? Um, I would feel less afraid to walk down the
True.
street at night
True.
because I would have the ability to defend myself and to project that to others. And as a woman who lives in New York City,
Mhm.
walking down the street at night alone can be very, very,
Yeah.
you know, questionable and dangerous. And
Right.
you know, it can be something very disconcerting. So I think that it would give me the authority to have that security in my life. You
Our third
know,
queen is here.
the third
Bring
queen
her in.
is here. Yes, let's get Annie in.
There's
Annie,
Annie.
who is
Hello.
Annie, who is a little late because she is saving lives on a
I
daily
was.
basis.
Yes.
Thank you for understanding.
No problem. Now you're gonna have to talk to us about
Oh yeah,
the biology behind the power.
Oh yeah.
right.
That's
I
your
know so many
punishment.
interesting
That's
ideas
your
in this show.
punishment. Bring it. Bring it.
All I can say is that when I watched this show, I was totally reminded of like there's the episode where she goes to the aquarium and she sees the electric
Mhm.
eels, and I was like, you know what this is? This is literally an evolutionary like defense mechanism for these women who are in these helpless and honestly scary situations. And I'm like, dang, I wish we could also develop that because that would be really cool. There are plenty of
Absolutely.
times when I've been a little afraid and would love to have some electric
Yeah.
powers. So.
You know,
Yes.
there
So
were
now, Navi and I talked to
Yeah.
death about it. Talk to me about season one, how you felt watching the seasons and the character development and the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah. So, love the premise, the idea of this kind of evolutionary defense mechanism being evolved for women is so fascinating, and one that I feel like I haven't really seen before. So it's not like, oh, they retold this story or they retold that story. This feels very fresh and new, which I really enjoyed. Love Toni Collette as the mayor, Margot.
Yes.
Oh my God, she's just fantastic, isn't she?
She is awesome. I
So
love
good.
her.
I love her. But the I liked it because it started off intense, right, with Allison's story and everything. And you're kind of like, why is she like hearing voices? Like, what's happening to her? And then, you know, the things are revealed. But gosh, some of those scenes, especially with Allison's like foster father, these just incredibly intense and sensitive scenes. I feel like they were done really, really well and really like I feel like sometimes directors and producers want to like play it up and make it like more graphic or like violent than it needs to be in some ways.
Absolutely.
And I feel like this was done in a way that you were part of that experience and you felt and like connected with the character for a variety of different ways, but it wasn't like, oh, this is like you know, this has nothing to do with the story, or like the way that this happened was only escalated for like theatrical value or whatever. It was very well done in that every scene seemed to further the character development and give us insight into the characters, versus shows like Game of Thrones or like Outlander, where you just have this gratuitous sexual violence that doesn't necessarily always push a story forward, you know?
Yes.
I'm okay with it for Outlander though.
All I can say is I've only seen season 1 of Outlander, and like the one where they're
That was an intense show.
I was
that
like,
was so
oh
intense.
my God. Like, so I had a patient who was watching that. I operate the hyperbaric chambers, right? So they can watch TV.
Oh God,
And I only have one rule with the chambers, and that's no pornography. And so I was like, oh, it's on Netflix, it'll be fine. And like my boss comes in and he's like, what is your patient watching? And I'm like, oh God. But
oh my God,
this show, I feel like if I had a patient who was watching it, it would be intense, but like it wouldn't be like, oh man, I gotta turn that off.
It wasn't a graphic intensity. Annie, Navi and I were talking about the one boy in the show that does have this ability, but we want to understand more the biology behind what's going on with this young man. So can you take us through what you know about his particular issue? I think he said he was intersex.
So what that is you think well, I feel like especially in society today, this is kind of a hot button topic, even though it really isn't. We tend to think of things in a very like black and white kind of way. Either you're male or you're female. So even like transgender folks, right? Oh, you're male to female transgender. You were a man, now you're a woman. When it's actually so much more diverse than that biologically. So we have several different, for lack of the medical term is disorders. I don't really like that word. Just expressions of gender, I will say. Intersex could be external. So you could have XX chromosomes. So you could be in DNA, you could be a woman, but perhaps you have a penis, or you've grown testes, you have a scrotum or whatever, right? It could be any number of combinations. I have a friend who is intersex, and he was assigned female at birth because they didn't know what was going on exactly. And then when he came to puberty, He really tried to live his life as a female, just trying to, he was very religious at the time. So he was trying to kind of blend in and fit in with that, was really kind of struggling with a lot of the issues that come with that religion, which is not very accepting toward LGBT or gender non-binary folks. And so he realized that his clitoris, actually what he felt was his clitoris, was actually a very small penis. So, right, very surprising to him when he was actually able to understand that. And then internally, he had testes, but they were not formed completely, so they didn't express themselves externally. They were just inside, almost like where ovaries are. So you just get this, really intense and stuff that I feel like people don't want to admit that or talk about it when they're like, well, there's only two genders. Like, actually, I can show you a million different ways that there aren't, you know?
Yeah. And I think that this show brings it together so nicely.
Totally.
And so respectfully. Navia, do we have a few new comments? Let's take a look at them.
So earlier when United Federations put up all those emojis, they said that it's excited times. That's what they meant. Good to know. I don't say emoji. I don't know. Anita and I were just guessing. And then from to be seen, missed opportunity should have been called Shockers.
That's funny.
I feel like that's a TV show already, so maybe copyright issues.
Is it?
I don't know. I feel like I've heard it before. And then from Webster Style, as a girl dad, this show scares the out of me. I mean, I guess depending on the time of month.
Yeah.
And then Cosmic Mom here, the coolest cosmic mom on the universe and on all of the cosmos. Hey Nita and everyone. Hey.
Cosmic Mom is the best.
We love Cosmic Mom.
So Navia, we are now just gonna be taking it over, sending it over to you, to the Real Women of Science.
Wow,
I love that.
Jason's beautiful work right there.
I love that.
That was a surprise. I didn't expect that.
Yes, I didn't want to share it with you guys.
I love
wanted to surprise you. But who do you have for us today?
All right, so today we're going to be talking about Dr. Kate Nguyen. So the thing about this scientist right here, she doesn't have too many accolades or too many achievements like the ladies that we talked about previously had, but she's created this amazing invention that I really, really want to tell you guys about. And this invention will actually be out later this year. So I think that's exciting, and it has the potential to save a lot of lives. So that's really why I wanted to cover her today. So Dr. Nguyen is a Vietnamese scientist who is currently a senior lecturer at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. And because she's so busy and saving the world, she doesn't have much time for social media, so you probably won't find her anywhere. In 2011, she decided to move to Australia to pursue her doctorate in civil engineering. And that's when she quickly learned about the widespread bushfires that occur every year. These fires cause a ton of damage. Like in 2009, 173 people lost their lives and 2,000 homes were lost. And these bushfires are natural occurring events. And due to climate change, these fires have gotten much worse and a lot more complicated. And this really bothered her. Yeah. And she thought, you know what, as a civil engineer, I should be able to do something. And so she looked at it from a construction material point of view. She's like, I should be able to create some kind of new material that will cause less damage and maybe hopefully stop the spread of these fires so quickly. So with the funding of L'Oreal and UNESCO, she came up with the idea of creating a special coating on existing buildings that could withstand fires for much longer. And this product is actually a ceramic-like coating that sits on buildings and provides a protective after-shelf filling in the gaps. And the building and then the ceramic tile makes it both fireproof and it increases thermal efficiency of buildings. So saving a ton of like electricity in the process when it's really cold. So that's absolutely wonderful. And the other amazing thing about this product is It's made out of industrial and construction waste, which makes this product truly sustainable. Yeah. And apparently in Australia, 1/3 of landfill waste is actually created by the construction industry. So, right? Isn't that amazing?
Jeez,
So,
that's a lot.
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So
a lot.
if she can like mass produce this, like she's taking a whole bunch of waste out of the landfills, which, you know, multiply that by every country. Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. She sounds fantastic, though.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I want to put her up back again so that people can see her name and definitely Google her. She is definitely amazing.
Yeah. And the creation process for this material actually emits 90% fewer greenhouse gases than conventional manufacturing processes. So even that is amazing. And like I mentioned earlier, like this will be available later this year, and I hope they can mass produce it because it'll be really helpful. I live in California, and we have wildfires every summer, and for the past couple of years, like it's destroyed towns, and also people have lost their lives because some people can't evacuate very quickly. So having material that can really slow down the burn, I think, would save a ton of lives. So I'm really excited to see exactly what this does for the world.
That is amazing.
That is very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And how did you learn about her? Was she a suggestion from our viewers or?
So I was reading about wildfires recently, and she came up. Since summer's right around the corner, and I always get a little freaked out about wildfires because it's really bad. Like, I don't know, Nita, I don't know if you like, or if our audience who's watching, when we have wildfires, the sky turns red, like horror movie red. And then ash, like it starts raining ash, and then like it's just asthma kicks in, like it's bad.
Yeah, I have a niece who lives in California, and even though she's not like right by it, she definitely gets if the wind blows a certain way, you get that smoke ahead of you. And one time I video chatted with her, and I'm like, "Oh, it looks like the rain, like it's gonna rain. I'll let you go so you can go inside." Because she was going into like the woman. She was like, "No, that's smoke from the wildfire."
Exactly.
Pretty sad. Definitely.
And these fires just cause so much health issues too for like babies and like older people. Yeah.
And animals.
And yes, and animals.
I bet.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wildlife.
Before we move on to our next segment, which is a new segment, Navia, do we have any comments on the real female influences in science?
Yeah, it looks like United_Federation has heard of the fire-resistant coating, but they've forgotten where they heard about it. So now you know who's behind it. So that's exciting. You're welcome.
Oh, absolutely. Now, guys, we have this wonderful new segment where our beloved Annie is going to introduce to us and make a suggestion of a science fiction book. So... take it away.
So this week's book, I decided to start with one of my personal favorite books. This is The Pandora Principle by Carolyn Close. This is one of the Star Trek pocket novel books written in the 1990s. This is a very interesting book that kind of details the backstory of one of the most, I would say, mysterious characters in Star Trek. One who was on the bridge several times and in several movies. This is Lieutenant Savick. This is Spock's protege and who hung out with David Marcus and young Spock during the search for Spock. She was also a member of the bridge crew in The Wrath of Khan. So we get kind of her backstory, which we don't get in any of the movies or any of the TV series. She's mentioned in a bunch of books, but this one really focuses on her really interesting mystery and intrigue. They're following an object which comes from Savick's homeworld where she was born, which is, it kind of lends credence to the deleted scene from The Wrath of Khan where Spock actually reveals to Captain Kirk that she's half Romulan, which would have been very interesting in the movie. Unfortunately, for some reason, it was cut. Probably timing, I'm guessing. I'm not quite sure. But I really enjoy this book. I have 2 print copies because, it's made in the 90s. You can't get them anywhere, So I've got 2 print copies and a Kindle copy. And I bet if they did a Audible, I would probably get the Audible too. So that's how good this book is. It's fantastic. So if you're a Star Trek nerd, if you like Savick, if you like Vulcans, if you like Romulans, if you like mysterious objects that tend to cause chaos, this is a great book for you. And it's a standalone book, so it's not like you have to read several other books in order to enjoy it. It's also pretty short. I think it's 273 pages, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that is short.
Yeah, pretty short. But it holds your attention. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna skip to the next chapter because I'm bored, or I'm just gonna skim this part. Every part is exciting and kind of keeps you on the edge of your chair as you're reading it. So yeah, that's my recommendation for this week. That's
awesome.
The Pandora Principle. Yeah, very great book.
Yes, the Pandora Principle. Let me bring that picture up just one more time so that our viewers can see that. Yes. And we are going to take a brief commercial break. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone who's listening to subscribe to our channel, to hit the notification button. And if you want to give Navia a recommendation for a real woman in science.
Yes.
Not science fiction, but a real woman in science. Or you want to give Annie a science fiction book recommendation, let us know in the comment section.
For sure.
And I will make sure they get that information. We have absolutely used recommendations in the past. So we love to hear from our viewers. Absolutely.
Yeah, do our homework for us, please.
For sure. Tell us what to read.
That is YK Productions is our producer, Jace. And he is amazing. He does all our graphics and bumpers and intros and outros. So if you're looking for someone who can do that for your podcast, reach out to him. He is fantastic. Now, before we go on to future conversations, I want to just remind everyone that our again, to subscribe, like, and share, and if you have any show ideas or topics, anything like that you want to suggest, please let us know in the comments section. But we are going to go into future show conversation. All right. Now, our next show, we do our show every other week. Our next show will be on June 2nd. Okay. And it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be having a conversation with Cece, otherwise known as Witty Treasure, about the companions of Doctor Who. So we're going to be talking about all the wonderful companions in Doctor Who, and she's going to bring us all the knowledge. She is definitely a Doctor Who expert. She has been guiding me through my Doctor Who journey and trying to get me up to speed so I can make it to that 60th anniversary. So I am very excited to talk about that with you guys. I hope you guys are excited about this Doctor Who episode as I am.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So Navia, Annie, if you have anything that you want to add, any last minute thoughts or ideas?
Let me just
go ahead. Sorry.
Or go ahead. I was gonna throw back to the comments really quickly.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Aw.
Cosmic Mom says, "Stay safe." I will, absolutely. Thank you. United Federation, we need to find you a nickname. Maybe UFO. We're gonna call you UFO. No, now we have to spend more money. And it looks like they actually ended up buying the book. So Annie, you're quite the saleswoman. And Cosmic Mom is asking, did we do a segment on Mae Jameson yet? Not yet, but
Not yet.
maybe we'll cover her next week. You'll have to tune in, find out if I do or not.
Yes, we do a show every other week. That way gives us time to do our research, and get all our information and facts and pictures and bumpers so that Jace can, do all the hard work out there. Definitely. And any final thoughts, Annie?
Oh, I was just going to say that it's my first time really getting into Doctor Who, so I'm totally enjoying doing the homework.
He's fantastic. I love it. It's been around for 60 years. I'm pretty sure it's the longest running sci-fi.
Yep.
When it started on TV, when it started, it was black and white. It had no color. That really says something about the writing. In the show. It definitely does. So I am really excited to discuss this with Cece. She is just a super nice person, super fan of Doctor Who, and very knowledgeable. So this is going to be very exciting. But I want to thank everyone for joining, for commenting, for subscribing, for liking, for sharing your ideas and thoughts in the comment sections, and just making this podcast super fun. But I'm going to just wish everyone a good night. And remember, our next show will be June 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our new channel so that you can get notified when new videos come up. Thank you for watching our show.